Hello, hello. So, this is a season of recording episodes for the podcast. And I thought I would say that out loud, come on here and share that with you. With the podcast, I realized that it's seasonal. I am not the one that's going to have an episode out every week, 2 times a week, all of that. This is seasonal. In the winter, springtime is when I do most of the recording. And then in summer is when I release anywhere from 6 to 10 episodes, depending on how many God has led me to release, depending on how many I can get to in editing and all of that. So there are 3 ways you can get on. Well, there's 2 ways you can get on the podcast. One is with a meet and greet. And that's what you see me talking about in the written description at the top. And I just finished one of those meet and greets today, and it was just beautiful. God got all the glory out of it. We talked about generational curses. We talked about just surrender. We talked about the stripping process. I even shared a piece of my own generational work that took place, some of my own family history that I never share out loud in this particular, setting. But on the podcast, y'all are going to get some deep, real, raw stuff. There's things that we don't talk about enough as women and men of faith. There's things that people, I would say specifically Christians, are dealing with in their lives, in their businesses, in their relationships. And we're not talking about it. We are not talking about it because we're thinking everything has to look perfect and we have to be this perfect Christian. And we're secretly dealing with some things and we don't talk about it out loud. So on this particular episode that I just recorded, hey, Pamela, so good to see you. On this particular episode that I just recorded, it opens up raw and real. Be prepared because you can be broken. You can have some unhealed areas of your life. You can have some things that you're still struggling with, and God can still be using you in the midst of it. I know because I raised my hand. There was a season in my life where I just remember like working 3-4 projects at the same time. I was publishing authors. I was certifying mindset coaches. I was working on movies. Like it was a season where all this running coaching programs, all this stuff was happening all at the same time. And I was not healed. There were some things in my life that God wanted to just get a hold of, but he graciously still used me in that season. I specifically remember it because I was like, God, how am I doing all of this? And people would ask me, Justina, you're so busy. I'm like, I'm not busy. I'm productive. I am never busy. I am productive. I am purposeful and I'm profitable. That's what I am. But I just remember looking back over that season and thinking, I am not the same person. I am not the person that, seeking validation, still dealing with my anger, just certain ways of thinking that did not line up with what I know to be true about the God that I serve. And I'm like, God, how could you still use me in that season? And I say, that's his grace. He can powerfully still use you, even when you are not where you think you should be, even when you think you're where you're supposed to be, but you're really not. He can powerfully still use you, right? But what I want to say is that he won't leave you there. He won't leave you in a space of brokenness, of, that's my son talking. Hey, bud, I'm doing a live stream. Shh. And so he won't leave you in a space of faulty thinking. He won't leave you in a place of unalignment. He just won't. He's just such a gracious God that he will continue to use you and allow you to grow and move. But then there comes a place where it's like, all right, I need you to see me and let's do this work. right? So if you're in that season of your life where God, he's been using you, you've got the accolades, you got the titles, you got the successes, you can see all the beautiful things, but you're in this place where he's like, okay, it's time to look at me and meet me and go deeper. I want to take you higher. I want to do some inner work. I want to shift and break up some ground on the inside so I can take you to that next level. Then, and if you feel called, you feel like, I've been hearing about Justina. I know she does this inner healing work. I know she does this energy healing work, this mind body work, this helping women to experience freedom around visibility and their finances and their faith and their intimacy and going deeper with the Lord and breakthrough in love life, all of that. And I feel called to work with her. Get on my calendar. Pamela says, girl, I just studied this morning about beating the air and running aimlessly, but he is leading me into purpose. Yes, yes, yes. You're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about the beating the air and running aimlessly. I hear that, but in my brain, I'm like, that could go so many different places. What did that mean for you? I would love to know. If you have time to type it out, you want to send me a voice note, whichever one is fine. That's perfect. But yes, I feel like there are many of you who God has already, like I said, he's already been using you. You've already seen progress and success in your business, your career, your relationships, all of that stuff. But it gets to a point where he wants to go deeper and he wants to take you higher and he wants to grow. Or maybe there's dysfunction in just one area of your life and you're seeing all this success in different. So then when we see the success over here, we can kind of ignore that one side that has a dysfunction. And God is like, no, he wants an integration of growth and alignment and success in all the different areas of your life. It could be your parenting. It could be your marriage. It could be even just the way you treat yourself, your own self-care and self-love and self-esteem and self-worth. It could be your business, right? Oftentimes it could be your nutrition, your weight, all of that. Oftentimes I find that we will allow ourselves to experience, the success in the 2-3 main areas and let this other side go lacking. And God is he's taken us to a place of wholeness and completeness. He's like, nope, I'm no longer letting you ignore that side of things. I'm no longer letting you allow that side to be, here and this other side to be elevated. He's like, we're going to bring in this alignment and balance in your life, your personal life, your love life, your career, your business, all of that. And it really does start with emotional wellness across the board. It starts in the way we're thinking all the way across the board, our thought life, right? Our beliefs, our thoughts, the lies or vows, operating programs, any traumas that you may have dealt with in your past that are now informing your future, informing your present. He wants to get a hold of those things, right? And so, I was just talking about the podcast. If you have a testimony, and again, you don't have to have arrived or be in this perfect place. You just know what you've been through. You're no longer burdened by the shame of talking about that thing that you've been through. And you have done the crying out process, right? And you're like, you know what that looks like, and God has moved in it and he's revealed things to you, and you want to share those things with our audience, because as you share and you reveal, then when other people listen and they hear, they can then begin to get a revelation for themselves as well, right? So it's so beautiful. This episode that I just recorded, which will come out it will come out early summer. I'm telling y'all, I'll put it out in May sometime, but I'm just so fired up about it that I want to talk to you about it. That even in her sharing her testimony, it was like, it was pulling things out of me that I was like, oh my gosh, girl, I have never shared this before. And this is a time and season for it to be shared. This is a time and season for it to be put out there so that people can experience breakthrough. Sometimes your breakthrough is in hearing somebody else's process to their breakthrough. It then breaks up some ground and allows Holy Spirit to start moving and shifting because you've opened yourself to hear and listen to somebody else's testimony. So yeah, the name of the podcast is shifting in my chair. The name of the podcast is Soulfully Aligned You. And it is about mindset and divine strategy for women in business. I like to say moms in business because I'm a mom myself. Y'all know I'm a homeschool mother. I homeschool my 16-year-old son, and we got to get back to his lessons. Yesterday, him and I had a very serious talk about just our studies, the discipline around our studies, organization, follow through, conviction, slowing down and taking in information and caring about the things that you are taking in and that you're trying to learn, right? So I love this homeschooling process with my son because we're coming back to homeschool. He went off for a year and he came back, and last semester was his first semester home. So there's this process of deschooling that you do as a homeschooling mother. If you're bringing your kids or homeschool teacher, I should say, maybe I should say that more. I'm a homeschool teacher. I've never identified as homeschool teacher. I'm a homeschool mom, but I'll take it. Homeschool teacher. There is this deschooling process that you can do, or I would invite you to do if you're considering homeschooling, because there's some things. If homeschooling is on your radar, I got a call. Raise your hand if homeschooling is on your radar, because I'm just, I'm grateful that we get to do it, and it is something that has been a blessing. We get to do a Charlotte Mason philosophy, which is a literature-based school. And I've been doing my oldest. Wow, we've been homeschooling since 2011. And it's 2025. What is that? 14 years. So I have a couple episodes on the podcast about homeschooling as well. I don't have many, but if y'all have questions about that, I can do some separate episodes, because just for me, speaking for myself, when it came to this idea of, hey, Miss Christy, when it came to this idea of being in alignment, I will say, just with my family and what works best for my family, especially as being, at the time, being a military spouse, being an entrepreneur, shifting, moving around the place, all of that. Home education was just in alignment with who we are, what we believed, and wow, I just look at it as the values you get to teach and the values you get to instill within your family when you are the primary educator, right? So there could be some episodes of that one there. And then, if you want to be on the podcast, definitely let me know. Just reach out to me. If you know somebody that has an amazing testimony, it could be personal testimony, business testimony, marriage testimony. But yeah, we have a segment called Branded for His Glory. That's where I interview most Christian entrepreneurs. And but just know that the episode isn't really the time. I mean, we can talk about your business, but I feel like it's more of a time to give God the glory, because we're, what He's done for you, how'd you get here? What'd you go through? What did He take you through? And how'd you get to where you are today? So, alrighty, I am going to run. We're going to get into, organization. We've been using Google Drive for our, homeschool organization, which I'm really loving it, because I'll organize the folders, and in those folders, just like each book that he's reading. If anybody wants to see this, if you are homeschooling or you're thinking of it and you want to see our organization, I'm more than happy to share. But having things in Google Drive, also using ChatGPT, Y'all, if they had ChatGPT back in the day, I would have saved so much time. But anyways, summaries of these books. I don't have time to read all the books, okay? But knowing the summaries and getting ChatGPT to create the lessons for us has been amazing. Pulling the vocabulary words, pulling the time periods, all of that. And I may do a separate live stream because this is supposed to be all about the podcast. And then I started talking about homeschool. So y'all excuse me on that. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we are going to jump back into our Google Drive. We're going to look over the assignments, make sure that he has his outline that comes from, we use AmblesideOnline.org. So if you want to check them out, go for it. But we print out the PDF from AmblesideOnline.org, and then he uses that as a checklist. Are you listening to me, Tyler? Oh, he has. Can you hear me?
No, I mean a little bit.
Well, are you doing your schoolwork right now, or are you clicking around?
I'm just clicking around till you get done with your schoolwork.
Did you finish all your schoolwork?
I have a little bit of math done, but I don't want to start it until you see the rest of my schoolwork.
Okay, then. So I'm going to pop off here so I can go ahead and look at, he says he doesn't want to continue until the rest until I see it. So I'm going to pop off here so I can look at that, get him on track, and then I'll come back. And if anybody comments underneath and says they want to know more about homeschool in our organization, I'll definitely come back. But this is also the kind of stuff that we will be talking about inside of my Facebook group. So if you're not in my Facebook group, make sure you join. It is Housewife Vibes, the Proverb 31 edition, Proverb 31 Woman edition. I know. Say it. Janelle says, hi, Tyler. Janelle was the one that introduced us to the self-directed learning community back when we lived in Little Wissy.
I don't think I remember that.
Yes, you remember that, Janelle? The self-directed learning community with, I forget her name. Girl, we homeschool again, not by choice. Oh, y'all are homeschooling again too? How cool. But you said not by choice. So, not by your choice, but by his choice. You have to fill me in on that. Because, yeah, let me tell you, honey, it's not always by choice sometimes because I had got him out the door. But, yeah, but sometimes we get him out and we pull him back in. It's just... It's seasons, right? There's a time and season for everything. So yes, was so fun at the time. Yeah, that was really, really fun. I'm so grateful to you. I don't think I've ever told you that out loud. Maybe I did, but I'm so grateful to you for introducing me to that self-directed learning community, because it was legit. It was so good. And I loved the educational coaching that she did with the kids too. She expanded my thought process beyond, and of course, Charlotte Mason, the Charlotte Mason education is so awesome and amazing. My brain had already been expanded, but she came and took it to another level with that self-directed learning. Because I think even in CM, I was a little rigid at times anyways. And so it really brought in more flexibility and freedom and all of that. And isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we say we want in our life and our businesses? We want flexibility. We want freedom. We don't want anyone to be able to put a cap on our finances. We want to be able to earn even more. So when you can start that even in your children's education, where they're getting that flexibility, that freedom, and then really being able to tap into their true passions and them not feeling like they're put in a box, it's like so good, because we don't want to be in boxes in our careers and our lives as well. So you get to foster that and like plant those seeds when they are growing up and they walk into their lives not being a drone, not being conformed to the world, so to speak, right? So that's what I really, really love about self-directed, unschooling, Charlotte Mason. Like those three is like where I camp out and where I live. Yes, I love self-directed learning and actually help jumpstart one. And you helped jumpstart one in LA for Black children. Yes, because then let's just be real about it. When you see the self-directed learning websites and the pictures and all that stuff, there are a lot of, you don't see a lot of Black children. You don't see a lot of people of color. So the fact that we can do that for our children, and to create a space, more of that is so beautiful. So yeah, I feel like this entrepreneurship and homeschooling in my brain, they kind of have this overlap with values and just the similarities and like the benefits and all that kind of stuff too. So all right, y'all, I'm gonna go. We're gonna finish up this check on his stuff and see how well he did, because he's learning how to stay more organized. It's not necessarily the work. I know he's smart enough to get the assignments and the lessons and all that, but it's the organization and checking off your stuff and being on top, like just those skills, because he's gonna need them when he goes off to college. So we're putting more responsibility, more self-integrity, like all those things around his work. So, all right, I'm gonna go. Bye. Come on, bud.